So, in talking about ratios, you could write a ratio like 3 to 2, or you could write the same ratio as 3 over. Well, that's not a 3. I have a problem with threes. I don't know if you've noticed that, if you've seen any of my other videos, but there we go. 3 over 2. You could write this ratio like this. That's a valid way to write a ratio. And so sometimes it's confusing. What is actually the difference between a ratio and a fraction? Because this is a ratio written as a fraction. So let's look at this example here and draw a distinction between the two. So if I talk about the ratio of trees to dandelions in this little scene down here that Mathceratops put together and enjoys as he expresses in his quasi Shakespearean poetry over here in the corner. The ratio of trees to dandelions. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trees. So 6 trees to 1, 2, 3 dandelions. So 6 to 3, which we could also write as 6 over 3. Okay. Um, I could also compare the ratio of trees, so 6 trees, to the total number of plants. So we've got 6 trees and 3 dandelions. So altogether we have 9 plants. So the ratio of trees to plants is 6 to 9, or 6 out of 9. Okay, so a ratio is a comparison between two numbers. For example, the ratio of trees to dandelions in this scene is a comparison of how many trees there are to how many dandelions there are. And there's two kind of different comparisons you can make. So I could compare one quantity to another quantity in kind of unrelated quantity, so trees to dandelions. Or I can compare a quantity to the total number, or the total quantity. So for example, in this one, it's a comparison of a part to a whole. So altogether there's 9 plants here, and 6 out of those 9 are trees. Whereas in this one, this is a comparison of a part to a part. So there's 6 trees compared with 3 dandelions. Okay? Neither one of these is the whole, or the total number. So a ratio can be a comparison between from a part to a part, or a part to a whole. When we talk about fractions, when we those are really just parts to whole. So if I say 6 out of 9, I'm saying there's 9 total, and I've got 6 pieces of those 9. Or if I have 2/3, I've got 2 out of the total of 3. Alright, so they're pretty similar, especially with the fact that you can always write a ratio as a fraction. Um, the concept, there's some overlap. But usually if we need to draw a difference or a distinction between a ratio and a fraction, a ratio can be a comparison between a part and a part. But a fraction, usually when we think of fractions, we think out of a whole. So you can visualize a fraction like this. If I've got 6, if I've got this pie that's split up into 6 pieces, and I've got 4 of them, I would say 4 out of 6. Whereas a ratio, you're a little freer in your comparisons. You can compare a part to a part. So if I want to talk about a comparison between the number of trees and the number of something else, the number of dandelions, then I'm really talking about a ratio, 6 to 3, which it so happens I can write as a fraction. But don't confuse it with fractions as we normally think of them, as some number out of the total number. So 6 out of the total 9 are trees.